Hey, everybody, welcome to Matt Men, your source for all things professional wrestling. I'm Andrew Zier, and I'm joined by the original vampire himself, Rich Stambolian.
Blah. What's up? That would be my catchphrase as a vampire.
Oh, that's a good catchphrase.
Blah. What's up?
I'm into that.
What's going on, dude?
What's going on, man? Second show of the week.
Oh, I love it. 2 shows in a week. I think we should do this more often. I think we should do 3 shows in the week and replace We're Live Pal with We're Live Pals.
Wow. You know what? Do you want to upset Garrett and we just do a show called We're Live Pals?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I live for upsetting Garrett.
All right, let's do it. All right, that's what we're going to do. Next week on the show, Jonathan is here. Jonathan, make the graphics where it says We're Live Pals with Andrew and Rich.
There we go.
Okay?
Yes.
And that's going to replace the show.
Together.
You know what? If you could get that going now, maybe MG will melt. He can't do shit on the fly like that.
He's not good with the improv.
Yeah. We got a comment. Morning, y'all. Much love from East Harlem. Look at this. Our New York babies are here. There you go. Thank you. Little reggae. This is a morning zoo. Beautiful. At this point. Guys, we have so much to talk about, obviously. It was an interesting week because we went from chaos to like a very normal week of wrestling.
Do you think the wrestling ship righted itself in that regard?
I don't know. We're going to talk about life after Punk because I think that's going to be the big topic here. We're winding down these CM Punk conversations, and I'm glad for it. I'm happy that we're going to talk more about the content and what's happening and just the wrestling product itself rather than talking about backstage brawls. But what do you think? I mean, we've had a week to sit on this. All In happened, All Out happened. I thought Dynamite I like Dynamite. I thought it was a good Dynamite. I love that segment with Swerve and Hangman. I thought that was really cool. Well done. I have some information on that as to why it was done in the way it was done.
Very cool.
But what do you think, Rich? It was a really tumultuous 2 weeks.
I'm gonna be very cliche as far as the CM Punk thing, and just say never say never. Like that's wrestling's catchphrase, right? Never say never.
Never say never.
If you can give pro wrestling one catchphrase, it would be never say never. And I think the other catchphrase would be you can love the business, but the business won't love you back, right?
Well, I don't know which part is it. Does he love the business, or does the business love him more? Punk's entire 2 years has been so fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a guy that left wrestling 7 years ago, or 8 years ago, or 9 years, whatever it is now, in a really bad way, and he was applauded for taking a stand. And if you really, you look at the details, I mean, in reality, he was upset that he didn't get to main event WrestleMania, and his match with Hunter, he was upset that it was a lower end match. I don't think it gets bigger. I mean, listen, man, I know headlining WrestleMania as a world champion is what everybody dreams about, but I mean, having the semi against Hunter is not a bad position to be in. Well,
also, he is definitely one of my top 5 Undertaker WrestleMania matches too. That's a feather in your hat, dude.
And he was bitching about that too, right? He was not thrilled with that.
It's very interesting because, it's very easy to poo-poo everything this guy's done after the fact because everybody looks at these videos, everybody looks at these clips, especially the clips that have been going around from AEW where, for example, yesterday I was scrolling and a lot of people were posting the clip of Eddie Kingston cutting the promo on him in the ring, right? Going, nobody likes you, nobody wants you here, blah, 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 right? And then all those other promos too, like Moxie cutting the promo, Jericho, whoever, right? It's very interesting how people are kind of like feeding off of that and then saying like, F you, F you, F you, F you. Is the guy done with wrestling? I don't know. Did the guy fit into this company? Apparently not, right? Because I think everybody had a different mindset and he came in, and I'm not saying he tried to make waves. We don't know for sure. We don't know the real backstage politics, but from everything we've seen and heard and all the hearsay, it's not a good look for this guy, but then off camera, you see him at the Cauliflower Alley Club, seems like a total sweetheart. Every interview he's done, he seems like a total sweetheart, total mensch, right?
Yeah, I just think he just enrages. They get upset. Do you think that? Did you expect this to happen the way it did?
I didn't expect it to happen the way it did. And as a fan, not as a wrestling podcaster, I'm a little sad by it. Not sad that it's like detrimental to my life and well-being, but I'm bummed out because like he had 2 years. What a great return. What a great like first match. Great that he's finishing the stuff with Joe. Awesome stuff. And then plagued by injuries, plagued by the scuffle at the media scrum, and then this shit that happened a couple of weeks ago, you know?
Yeah.
It's just a weird situation, and it seems very explosive. Meanwhile, you don't really hear any of this drama from anybody else in that company unless people are very tight-lipped, you know?
Well, you know, here's what I... Like, my whole assessment of the whole Punk thing, right? When he first left, the first time, after the brawl out. My whole point was, listen, if you are Tony, right?
Yeah.
The right thing to do is try to make this work. As a manager, as a leader, as the boss, you want to show that you are diplomatic and the business comes first over personal problems, and you will attempt to make this work. And you know what? Kudos to Tony, because that's exactly what he did. He saw the importance of letting this settle and making it work. You can't blame Tony for what happened now. He tried everything to make this work. Because A, he's a fan. 2, he knows the importance of someone like CM Punk on his roster. He knows what it means to his media partners and to shirt sales and toy sales and WBD.
Oh, forget it. Yeah.
Ad sales. He knows what that means. And he tried. And he gave it another chance. And they gave him another show. And he had a tremendous level of control there. And it still wasn't enough. It didn't, whatever issue he had was not alleviated by Tony's remedies.
Right.
And at that point, what can you do? What are you going to do at that point? You're going to turn around and say, okay, what else do you need? You're getting into fights here. You're yelling at this one. You're yelling at that one. It's not. Listen, I know he talks about Harley Race over and over again and how Harley, gave him the nod and the okay and the veterans were fine with him. But he ate so much shit for so many years.
Exactly.
And those same people that were kissing his ass when he was in WWE, when he was in a prominent position, were the same people that would talk everything about him. Were the ones calling, the dirt sheets and talking about what Punk is like really backstage. I mean, it's a double-edged sword for him. Some that he created and other ones that the business created. And I think he just could never get over it. I don't think he could get over the fact that these people didn't like him.
Well, also, we mentioned this on the show last week. Like you just said, he ate a lot of shit to get where he got, right? Maybe, possibly, he didn't see that for the other guys on that roster. Because a lot of guys on that roster didn't eat a lot of shit. They did a couple of years on the indies, and then all of a sudden they're on TV. And I feel like that may do something to a person. To be like, like I was maybe a little bit of an ego thing. I hear wrestlers have ego sometimes. Hey, I was the internet darling.
Think about if it was you, right? Like, and listen, I got a comment from somebody. They're like, I can't believe how soft you are on CM Punk and his problems. He's a dick. I'm like, I don't know the guy.
Exactly.
And this is like, listen, man. He didn't commit a heinous crime for me to be like, this guy's a piece of crap. He has a work-related issue. I don't know him. Is he difficult? Yeah, I'm sure he would say that he's not the easiest guy in the world. I think that's already known. But if that was you and your entire career, you were just attacked, right? You were told you don't have the look, you don't have the body, you don't have the athleticism. Even on the CM Punk DVD, right? That did tremendous sales. The conversation about him was that he was a terrible athlete. And that Colt Cabana was such a better athlete than he was. Like, he couldn't even do basic stuff, but he could do certain moves.
Right.
Listen, that's a narrative that lives with you. You will always think that about yourself. You'll have a little chip on your shoulder because it comes so easy to certain people. Well, he's had to work really hard, and he has not had an easy life. Listen, this is what happens. He made a decision. He decided that he cannot work in that organization like a normal person. That's on him, and Tony attempted to do the best that he could, and now we're here. Now it's life after Punk. This 2-year experiment failed, but I'm glad that they did it. They got it. They tried at least.
They made a lot of people happy.
They made a lot of people happy. It brought a lot of people back to wrestling. I think people need to focus on what great stuff we saw on TV rather than what happened in the back.
It's always unfortunate.
Is it a little hypocritical that we're talking about it? Yeah, absolutely. But it's the most interesting thing that's happened. It's for a lot of people because this guy was a big part of people's wrestling lives. You know, you and I, we had Austin, we had Rock, we had the Attitude Era, we also had the 80s because we're in that in-between. But to a lot of people, this was the Macho Man Randy Savage and the Hogan for them.
Oh, absolutely. And this was like his promo in, what was it, 2011? The rant promo?
The pipe bomb?
The pipe bomb? Yeah. That was part of the impetus for us kind of starting this too.
Yes. We rarely talk about that. That brought me back to wrestling. I was watching, obviously, but like I wasn't like watching.
In it. Yeah.
And we got lunch and we were going to do a gaming thing. You were going to do like a gaming podcast, and we started talking about wrestling for like 45 minutes, and we're like, okay, maybe this is it.
Yeah.
Because you were going to do a gaming thing, then you started the comic book podcast, and it turned into wrestling because it was so out of the norm. He brought up New Japan, he brought up Ring of Honor. It created something. I mean, you can't take that away from the guy.
Right. So, that being said, you flash forward to now, and it's, again, as a fan, it's just like, it's like off-putting because you want to really like the guy and give him the benefit of the doubt. And then you hear all these weird rumors and stuff. And I don't know how true they are, but there was like a rumor this week or something floating around the internet about how one of the reasons he blew a gasket was that AEW re-signed Kenny and the Bucks and Hangman.
I mean, what does he think they're going to do?
Right.
You're going to give away. I mean, I can't believe that to be true. Like, I find zero factuality behind factuality. That's a word.
Right.
That's
factuality.
A word. Yeah. Factuality. You're upset that the top 4 guys that company was built on out of the 5 are re-signed. What are they going to do? They're like, no, guys, I'm so sorry. We have CM Punk go to WWE and become the biggest stars ever there. You're not going to do that. That's insane. So, I mean, we're gonna find out what happens here. It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks, life after Punk in that company. But we'll start here. Ace Steel was released from AEW. Yeah. I think that was evident when Punk left.
I thought that happened already. Like, I thought that happened after the Brawl In.
No,
whatever it was called.
He came back. He was working on that show.
He was secretly re-employed behind the scenes and not at the shows, I think is the story.
Okay.
AEW Collision drew the lowest rating in the show's history against college football. They did 345,000 viewers on TNT. It was down 37%, 37.5% from the previous week.
Yeah.
They were going up against college football, week 1 of college football. This week, they're against their first marquee game, which is Texas and Alabama. Also, there's UFC as well this Saturday. So, I get we knew that this was going to happen. Unfortunately, I think those numbers are lower than what everybody anticipated.
Yeah, well, let's see what happens going forward, right?
Yeah.
We're getting into like the fall and winter months. There's a chance those ratings go up, right? Because more people might be home to catch the show. It's the cold season. People are home. They're gonna, you're not gonna be out as late. I don't know. 345, not a good number whatsoever. I don't think that was an anticipated number by anybody. I know what Warner expects. I know what AEW expects with these numbers, and we're nowhere near it right now. Yeah.
345,000 primetime on a Saturday is not to be expected. I think if it was like another 100,000 plus, it would have been a little bit better. But that number needs to be like 700,000, 640,000 on the regular. Whatever NXT is doing, I think that that would be a healthy number for that show. And you can if you have something big. Maybe Danielson is going to be a prime focus on the show.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, that guy's arm was still broken.
Oh, dude, how good is he?
He's the best. He is the best, right?
I say this all the time. That is my guy. That is the style of wrestling. I could watch a Danielson match for like 4 hours. Don't care.
Absolutely.
He is so remarkable. It's unbelievable to me. That is my style of wrestling. And I'm glad that Ricky had that 5-star match with him.
Oh, yeah. I think we both agree about the Danielson thing. I got into a huge fight with my wife, not because of wrestling, but because of something.
Did you hit her in the face with the strap?
No. All I wanted to do was watch that ad-free Suzuki versus Danielson match on YouTube. Oh. I think it was last year.
Yeah, no, 2 years ago.
I was like, I'm sorry, but I am withdrawing from this argument. I need to watch this right now.
Yeah, that was fantastic. He's so good. I
know.
And listen, Ricky, you know, he gave Ricky a 5-star match with a broken arm. Think of how good that guy is, and how, you know, you want to talk about a team player in the clutch. The guy was not determined to come back at this pay-per-view, and he's like, "No, man, you need me, I'm here. Let's do it."
Do you think it's one big locker room, or do you think there's a couple of locker rooms?
I think there's a couple.
Okay.
Yeah. I think there's a couple. So very interesting stuff. So this week they're going up against a marquee match. We'll see what happens there. So the big question is, what is expected going forward from WBD without CM Punk? I could tell you that it has been very quiet. More than usual.
Okay.
But I would say it would be really a benefit if they're able to grab a marquee name that is not in that company.
Edge.
Currently. Listen, man, I don't know whatsoever, okay? I have zero insight on what Edge is thinking or what the contract situation, but I'm back.
I'm working for WB Mason.
I'm working for WB Mason? What is he doing? Paper?
He doesn't realize it's Warner Brothers Discovery. He thinks it's WB Mason. He's like, it's not WBD, it's WB Mason.
He gets the wrong job? He's a paper delivery boy?
He gets the wrong job. He has to drive that mustachio truck around now.
Mustachio truck around New York. Nobody knows what we're talking about. Nobody knows.
Stupid truck.
Stupid. I hate that fucking truck, dude. Hate it.
The worst.
Yeah. I'm going to glue my feet to it, and I'm going to hang on the sides like that guy at the U.S. Open. You saw that bozo?
No, what happened?
Some bozo environmentalist glued his feet to the floor at the U.S. Open and started screaming about, climate change and everybody's carbon footprint.
Like his feet, like his
bare
feet,
fossil
or
fuels.
like,
his feet, his
or like
bare
his sneakers.
Feet. And he's like, man. Fossil fuels need to stop. And I'm like, you know what they make that glue out of, right? It's made with oil that comes from the ground.
Right,
bozo. You know what? They should have just left him. They shouldn't have done anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Bound him, just shut his mouth and just let him there. Leave him to the birds. They'll eventually get him. Exactly. So, I mean, listen, Edge, he's 48 years old. You know, maybe you get a couple great matches. Edge and Omega. You get Edge Danielson again. You could do, these cool matches, but that's about it. Here's another question I had for you, Rich. And this is a question for the live audience. If Punk was brought in as an attraction, right? They said, okay, he's only going to do, he won't be on every pay-per-view. We'll bring him in for a program. He'll go away for a little bit. We'll bring him back again for a program. He'll go away for a little bit. Would that have been a solution to this? Or would we have always ended up here?
I feel like we would have always ended up here, but the timeline wouldn't have been 2 years. It would have been 4 years.
The timeline would have been. Well, his contract would have been over by then. So
yeah. How long was his contract? Just like a year and a half, 2 years?
No, I think it was a long deal. I think it was like a 3-year deal, or I don't think it was a 1-year deal.
If I would say ideally, let's say if the guy was healthy, right? You do a few matches to start, get that ring rust off, and then make it an attraction. Make it like, somebody like Ricky Starks, almost the same thing. Somebody like Ricky Starks comes out and says, is there anybody in the back who could take me on? Hear the music.
Here comes Punk, yeah.
Big marquee match.
They had that match with Darby, right? He had that match with Kingston, which was great. He had the program with Mox. He was in some really, I want to see matches.
Yeah, and
but maybe it was too much too soon.
I think that may have been it. Maybe his eyes were too big for his stomach. MG, can you quickly look up exactly how many matches CM Punk had in AEW? Because I feel like we think it's a lot, but I feel like it's less than 20 in the last 2 years.
Is it less than 20? You know what? That's a great question. Maybe it is.
I feel like it's around like 12 or 13.
You say 12 or 13. Okay, let's do this, okay? Here we go.
Maybe 14.
Ready?
I'll be generous. I'll say 14.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 33 matches. That's actually, I got to tell you, that's a lot.
In 2 years.
In 2 years with an 8-month absence and a 2-month and then another break.
Yeah, it was almost a year off
on that one.
I mean, that actually for AEW, that's more than most people wrestle.
Yeah.
If you wrestle every other week, that's 20-something matches.
That's fascinating. Well, he was doing twice a week sometimes, right? He was doing Dynamite and
Rampage.
And Rampage? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, let's look at his matches. You ready? Let's look. Darby Allin. Powerhouse, and then the second match was Powerhouse Hobbs.
Great.
Okay. Daniel Garcia, Matt Sydal, Bobby Fish, that Bobby Fish match with the weird finish. Eddie Kingston, QT Marshall, Lee Moriarty, Cash Wheeler and Dax and MJF. Him, Sting, and Darby. Wardlow.
That was great.
Sean Spears, MJF. He had him and Mox versus Wheeler and Dax. Dog collar match, MJF. Match with Dax. Max Caster. Penta. Him and Penta had a match on Dynamite?
They sure
in
did.
April? I don't remember that at all. Dustin. He had a match with Dustin. John Silver, Adam Page. He had a tag match. He had CMFTR and the Guns and Max Caster. Moxley. He had another Moxley. He came back, his first match back. Him and Dax and Wheeler against Samoa Joe and Juice and Jay. And then, we're here. Right? Another tag match. Kojima, Samoa Joe, Ricky Starks. He had a tag match with Darby against Cage and Ricky. He had a match with Ricky. Another tag match against against Malachi, Brody, and Buddy. Another tag match against Brian Cage, Jay White, Luchasaurus, and Swerve, and Samoa Joe. He had some wacky matches.
But at one point, you see, like, after the Kojima match, that's when it gets very curated.
Yeah.
A lot of the same kind of like rotation, sort of,
Yeah. Fascinating.
Very fascinating stuff, yeah. But that Meltzer thing also is kind of interesting too, right?
That people feel that a cloud was lifted.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. I listen, man. You've worked with people that are very, they walk into the room, you're like, oh shit, they're here. Yeah. I'm sure that was like that for a lot of people. I'm sure it's sat. There was a cloud over that whole All In show, and I think it's so terrible. Like they were not able to capitalize at all on that.
Yeah, even though that show, I watched it back again. What a show! I think I watched it twice.
Yeah. I didn't watch that back. I watched All Out twice, and I thought that show was much better. I liked All Out so much better. It was All
Out was very good too.
Great show.
Two banging shows back to back. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we got a Grand Slam in a week and a half. I got to get those tickets. I'm going to see.
We got to get them tickets, man.
Yeah.
We should try to get press passes. MG.
Well, I reached out. I haven't heard back. If somebody at AEW is listening, get back to me, please. General Sheik Adnan Al-Kaissie passed away at 84 years old. People remember him from his run in WWF as a Iraqi general, and he was with the Iron Sheik, which was Colonel Mustafa at the time, and Sergeant Slaughter at the time when he was an Iraqi sympathizer.
Wow.
I was at that SummerSlam, the match made in heaven and the match made in hell, when napalms turn to nuptials. Why do you say that like that, Vince? Why does he say that? Then napalm turns to nuptials with the wedding.
I'll say whatever I want.
I'll say whatever I want. I was like, whoa, what is napalm? I didn't know that as a kid. And then Hogan's doing this, and thought it was awesome. He passed away. He was apparently he was like Saddam Hussein's bodyguard at one point.
Wow.
So if he was a sheik from Baghdad and AWA, fascinating career. I mean, we really didn't get too much exposure. He's before our time, but at least we got to see a little bit of him. Fascinating stuff. Gunther has become the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion, defeating Chad Gable on Monday Night Raw with a fantastic match. Passes the Honky Tonk Man's record I think Vince for years wanted that title away from Honky.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You have Gunther, and then you have Honky Tonk Man right after him.
You know, it'd be funny if they strap Gunther with a Honky Tonk Man style gimmick now.
Do you remember when that guy lost his mind on us on Twitter randomly?
Who, Tonk?
Honky Tonk, yeah.
There was a couple of guys who lost their mind on us for zero reason back in the day. Was he one of them? I don't remember the circumstance.
Honky was one of them. He's like, he started tweeting us randomly. He goes, you boys talk a lot of shit about me. And I'm like, I don't think we've ever mentioned Honky Tonk Man on the show.
No, I don't. Yeah.
And then Taz yelled at us.
Yeah. I vaguely remember. I remember that. Yeah, I think Kevin Nash blocked us early on for something somebody else said.
Somebody else said it. They tagged us in it. I love Kev. Somebody made a quad joke, and then we got blocked.
Was it a quad joke, or was it like a ravioli joke?
Oh, the ravioli jokes are great, though. I could watch him eat ravioli for like 45 minutes.
That's one of my favorite videos.
The greatest shoot interview ever. Him just eating ravioli in some man's kitchen, and his wife is bringing him
very comfortable.
A mundane salad.
I like seeing videos where people look very comfortable, and that guy was eating a lot of ravioli and drinking red wine and answering questions. He looked like he was in heaven. So it was pretty nice.
Yeah. Per the Wrestling Observer newsletter, All In was supposed to air on Max, but the technology was not ready. I reported that how many months ago, guys?
Years ago.
But I will say Max is doing some tests in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So the problem was, if this show was going to be free, they could have done it on Max. But why would you give the show away for free?
Yeah, exactly.
Stupid. Why would you give away millions of dollars away for free? They didn't have ads sold for it to generate the revenue. That takes a lot of time to put that in. Maybe there wasn't enough ads in the inventory to allocate over. But, I mean, Max does have the technology to live stream right now.
They do. But
the problem is the pay-per-view feature. And I know that they're working for this. It's not just for AEW, though. This is not going to be just an AEW feature. So if they could move all those things from Max, from BR, I don't know. Is there anything else on BR at this point?
No.
There's a lot of shit on BR. There's a lot of stuff on BR, my friend.
This website is terrible.
I downloaded BR on Apple TV the other day, and all it showed me was AEW.
AEW, yeah. So it's coming. We just got to wait. These things take a while. It's out of their hands. Code development on something like this is not an overnight thing.
No, not at all.
Especially during a merger when priorities shift. You're determining what's your priority here, and I think a lot of that was affected here too. So we'll see what happens. WWE's looking to re-sign LA Knight to a long-term contract per Fightful. He's expected to get a mega push.
Great.
Yeah, man. He's over.
He's over. People love him. Kids love him. Men and women love him. How do you feel about his yak catchphrase?
I don't mind it, but I think it's a little much now.
It's like he's saying it too much?
It's just too much. Too much, yeah.
Too much, yeah. So what does he do? Does he go... in terms of that big push, right? What are we looking at? Dethroning Gunther, Seth. I know he's on a different show.
Yeah,
U.S. title.
I think you hit the nail. I think getting the secondary title and making that his thing for a little bit, and then having him challenge for maybe Seth's belt. He's not beating Roman.
Sure.
That's not the unless dude. Never say never, right? This guy can get really hot. He could get Austin hot, and he could go after. I mean, what happens then? This is a nice little monkey wrench in that WWE side of baby faces.
I do feel like if they ended up doing the Roman thing for some reason, I feel like the lines would get even more blurred to the Austin thing. And I don't know if people would eat it up or if they would just say, hey, this is kind of like hack.
I don't know. I think his Austin stuff is, for me, I feel warmth because it's a little nostalgic. It's nostalgic enough.
Yeah.
Like his whole entire spiel, that's how like a wrestler is. So I like it. I'm going to tell you, man, teenage kids love him. Boys love him. They like the whole shtick, and this is what got Austin over. So I think they have something. Even like the Ken Kennedy comparison.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember how hot he got?
Oh, my God.
I used to love it.
that was the point that I wasn't as invested with wrestling. So it didn't. I didn't see it as much as other people, but he was on fire for a period of time.
Can I tell a quick stupid story?
Yeah, give me.
When my buddy came over, we used to watch wrestling all the time together. And when Kennedy debuted, he thought he was like, what was that guy's name? Mr. Sodomy?
Mr.
Like,
Sodomy.
No. So like every time he saw him, he would do the thing like Mr. Sodomy, take a beat, Sodomy. And it was pretty funny. But see, Jonathan laughed. Look at that. That guy loves.
Of course he did.
No.
Of course he laughed. Of course he laughed at that.
Of course he laughed.
Yeah. He's very interested in my meeting yesterday. I had a meeting with somebody.
Is this
the artwork too?
Yeah, he's very invested in my
for the new show.
Yeah, I'm working on something with Lisa Ann.
Are you gonna take us to that thing you're doing?
I'll take you to the thing I'm doing.
Yeah, take me to the thing.
Yeah. 2 weeks.
Beautiful.
Yeah, 2 weeks. So we'll I'll talk about it once it's all settled. So I mean, listen, awesome. It's things are happening. WWE's merger is expected to be official this coming Tuesday. What changes could you expect immediately? Do we get the Undertaker in the UFC game?
Oh boy, that would be pretty effing cool. Awesome. I think you could throw Taker in there. Ken Shamrock.
That's some of the rumors. That's some of the rumors that they might be doing that because the new UFC game is coming out.
Do it. Why not? If you could put Freddy Krueger in Mortal Kombat, you can put the Undertaker in a UFC game.
Yeah, why not? The universes are merged. It's like Marvel versus Capcom.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to see the wacky stuff. You don't want to see like Kane.
Kane
in the
Conor
UFC, Kane versus Conor McGregor in the UFC. You don't want to see that?
I would love to see that. Yeah,
I do think we'll get some crossover here. I think we'll get a little bit. But like I was thinking this, right? When these contracts run up, like MJF, for example, right? The WWE is going to be a very different company in about 12 months. Yes. 18 months, very different company. Not only do they have the reach of Endeavor, William Morris Agency, WME, right? Isn't William Morris part of Endeavor?
Yes, it is. It's the it's the management wing.
If you're MJF
agency.
and you're like, listen, I want to do a multitude of things. Isn't the smart bet to go there? Like the Miz. The Miz is a great example of benefiting from this. He's going to benefit from the William Morris connection. It's going to be very interesting the next year. Very interesting. But this merger's fascinating. You think we're going to get crossover stuff or no?
On TV? Yeah. You know what? Yes. I think we will. I think if you're going to... I think the Logan Paul thing was the... Not that he has anything to do with UFC, but I feel like as far as crossover stuff, I think that was the first thing we got, right? Whatever event that was, where you had Logan Paul and his boy dressed like his energy drink, right?
Yeah.
KSI.
Who?
KSI. And then KSI. Yeah. And then you had, I think, on the same night, Rey Mysterio, and there was like a guy dressed like a Dorito or some shit. Am I right about that? Yeah. It was like a bag of Doritos. I think if you can do that and people didn't mind it too much, you're going to get a lot more weird crossover stuff in the next 2 years.
Why listen, not? I don't know. I think a lot of the UFC fans don't want it, but we'll see what happens.
Everybody loves.
Let me ask you this, Vander.
Yeah.
What do you think about employee as far as cuts? You think there'll be a lot of cuts as far as office cuts?
Yeah,
I think he's asking about himself.
Yeah. Redundant positions are going to get cut.
Okay.
I think that was a personal question.
A couple other things. IGM Academy also has a partnership with Endeavor, so they're like a feeding system for a lot of these professional sports leagues as far as NFL and NBA and stuff. So you're going to get a lot of athletes with first eyes looking and stuff like that as well. So
yeah, interesting stuff. AEW Rampage tonight. Penta versus Jay Lethal in the Grand Slam World Title Eliminator quarterfinal. Samoa Joe versus Jeff Hardy in the Grand Slam Eliminator. I'm
excited about that.
Versus Matt Menard and Angelo Parker. Wow, this is a packed Rampage. Collision.
Good Rampage, yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice Rampage. Collision. Roderick Strong versus Darby Allin in Grand Slam Eliminator. We hear from Bryan Danielson. Penta and Jay Lethal versus Samoa Joe and Jeff Hardy. What? In the what is this?
It's either or. It's either Penta or Jay versus Joe
got
or
it.
Hardy.
Got it. Okay, thank you. All right. And we'll hear from Saraya and Ruby Soho. Bullet Club Gold is in action as well. And we'll hear from the AEW Trios champions. Dynamite for 9/13 Grand Slam title eliminator finals. Britt Baker, Toni Storm, Shida, and Nyla Rose, with the winner facing Saraya at Grand Slam. Hangman Page and Brian Cage, and Don Callis reveals his next masterpiece.
Very excited about that. I think looking at the ticket sales, Rampage, Grand Slam, there's plenty of seats left. I think it's going to be a really good show, and I feel like the 9/13 episode it's got to be Joe versus Danielson, right? In that final.
Danielson's not in it.
Danielson's not in the
No.
Sure about that?
I'm positive.
No.
He's not in the tournament?
No.
Huh.
Neither is Hangman.
Samoa Joe's the highlight there.
Yeah, Samoa Joe's a highlight, but I don't think he's going to win. I think Roddy's going to win this.
Yeah, it's going to come down to those two because they're the story they're telling.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I think Roddy will win this, and then it'll cause, whatever that pay-per-view is, it'll be Joe and Max.
Okay.
Because that's a good pay-per-view match. Guys, let's do our Q&As before I get out of here.
You want to just spend a couple seconds on Dynamite and specifically the big segment that everyone was talking about this week was Toni Storm.
Oh, two segments. I want to talk about this. Yeah, I thought there were some changes to the show. I know that Tony had some extra help with doing some segments here, and one of those segments, I will say that was great, was the Hangman Page segment with Swerve.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I loved everything about that. The promos were great. I thought Swerve looked like $1 million. I would say that, that's going to be a fun program. But, I mean, a lot of the stuff was good, he said. He's like, listen, you've gotten a little fat. Now you're just getting deals because you were here before while I've had to fight for everything. If I had the opportunities you've had, I would have been the first black AEW World Heavyweight Champion.
That was a great line.
Great line. I thought it was fantastic. I thought he was great. Very good stuff. And then talk about your segment that you loved, the Toni Storm stuff.
Oh, the chin up, tits out. And
chin up, tits out, and watch out for the shoe, and then the shoe goes. Yeah.
Oh, someone put a montage together of all the time she's done it now. She's getting this over, and it's really, really. She's the new star of the women's division for sure.
Love it.
It's interesting. She's doing like this Sunset Boulevard type gimmick.
Yeah. Everything's
like
a performance now, and she's losing herself in it.
It's very interesting.
That's how it's. Yeah.
I mean, and then her original gimmick, it was that she was a cute, sporty girl next door, right?
That loved '80s music. And she came out to the original AEW theme was based on Barracuda by Heart, I do believe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was. I mean, she's always been great. I've always really enjoyed her. Even on the indies, she was fantastic. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there with her, and I'm glad that she's able to kind of experiment and do some different stuff.
It sort of reminded me what they did with Britt Baker when she first came up and she started working with Tony Schiavone.
Yeah.
And their chemistry just got her over. And now she's similar with what she's doing with Renee. It's like great.
Yeah, it's been really good. Really, really good stuff. Let's do Q&As. Ask your questions, submit them in the chat, and we will do our best to answer them. Oh, and also Braun Breaker killed Von Wagner on live TV. That was fantastic.
I love the black shot when they went black.
Yeah.
And then people were showing it online for the alternative angle, and he did hit him. He did him. So.
All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
We're going to do some questions. Andrew's got to get out of here early, so we're going to start questions a little early. Super chatters if you want or not, whatever. I'm not your dad. This is from Glassdoor Gamer. Who do you strap first, Starks or Swerve?
I'm going to go with Swerve, man.
I'm going to go Swerve also.
Yeah.
I think they've been leading up to him with a big belt since his debut. The dude's money.
The dude is money. Yeah. I think he's, and he's put on some size too, dude. Swerve has put on some size. So I think he's getting ready for a lot of people there realize how good he is. Not taken away from Ricky, but Swerve, I think I would put it on Swerve first.
He's one of those interesting guys that came over from WWE and is making such an impact, and it works. Like whatever they strapped him with on SmackDown wasn't working. This is working.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely working.
This is from Christopher Dunn, $1. And if Punk does another Art of Wrestling style podcast, but about AEW, who would do it with him? I don't even think Cornette would want to risk ending up in court.
I think there are many people that would want to do that sit down.
Doesn't Dax have a podcast?
Not anymore.
No, they ended it.
What? After what, like 3 episodes?
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't very long. It was a few episodes.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I would say like somebody like Dax, maybe if Bret Hart has a podcast.
I could see someone like Nick Hausman pulling that.
Listen, I don't think it's going to be. I don't know what that gag order is. I don't know what, if they're going to issue a gag order. This is going to become a legal problem. I don't know how many NDAs were signed. I don't think we'll get an Art of Wrestling style podcast about this. Yeah. Maybe in a couple of years we'll get one of those wacky shoot interviews.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Or it's going to be tight-lipped, or he's just going to say something in an interview somewhere. It doesn't have to be a podcast or a shoot thing. It could just be like some kind of interview where he's like, yeah, this is what happened, F it, whatever. Yeah. Or he could carny it, put it behind a paywall, and then like make some real bank, I
think he would make some money.
Yeah. This is from Good Doer 627. Do you think... Hang on 1 second. Lost it here. Do you think Joe versus... MJF will last till Full Gear with 2 big shows in between Grand Slam and Wrestle Dream?
I don't know if it's going to be at Full Gear. I don't think it's at Grand Slam. I think Wrestle Dream is more realistic. But I don't know. We'll see. Either Wrestle Dream or Full Gear.
Okay. Let's see. Here. It's from Brian Knight. 1 year from now, CM Punk will be in WWE and Impact, the newest member of the Mat Men, or retired.
1 year from now. I don't know why everybody thinks Impact. I mean, they can't afford him unless he wants to work for free. Does that guy want to work for free and possibly get injured and then have to, I don't think. I think WWE is the most realistic outside of retiring.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
He does Japan.
But he never really did Japan. He wasn't a Japan guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, can you go to Japan and have a one-off? Yeah, I'm sure he can, but...
That would be cool.
I know that plenty of people are not high on Punk, but, there's also the enemy of my enemy that's willing to pay me is now my friend. If they want to pay him and he comes in and does something really cool, what if he shows up at a Rumble and he does a WrestleMania program? What does that mean? I think that's a tremendous hit to AEW.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just another hit at them. So I don't know. I don't know if that's enough I don't know if that's enough for WWE to be like, yeah, I want to bring this guy in here with all these issues that we have with him, but in return, we're hurting our competition.
Well, is that still the mindset? Because like, okay, here's a question for you. If you were Triple H, right?
Yeah.
Would you have any interest in this guy right now with the current roster and storylines that have been building for the past like 3 or 4 years?
Okay, so I don't know if I'm Triple H, but if I'm Nick Khan, right, or I'm on the corporate side, I'm going to look at, okay, so yeah, we're doing great on TV. Our house shows are doing good. AEW is not doing good with house shows, but there's also other elements like merch, right? Every shirt you buy for CM Punk is a shirt that you're not buying for WWE. Every ticket that AEW sells, whether it's 3,000 or 10,000 or 5,000, that's taking away money from your wallet that you possibly could have put into WWE if they were in your market. So if there's anything you could do to hurt their bottom line financially, you kind of want to do it. And CM Punk is a merch leader. He sells toys. He sells merch.
Oh, yeah.
He brings eyeballs to TV. That creates sales, ad sales. So I don't know if they have analyzed the metrics enough to say, wow, you know what? This guy could generate us, I'm throwing a number, 15 million extra a year. And all we got to do is pay him, $3 million, and he's going to have 4 matches for us.
Right.
Is that a risk that you want to take? I don't know.
It's interesting because when you mentioned that, they could work around this guy because WWE is such a machine. And I think there's an argument for a lot of people have been saying, and you want to agree with it, that sometimes maybe the management in AEW needs a little tweaking. Right. I think WWE has very good management, so you could sequester this guy away from everybody and it wouldn't make a difference. Keep him happy, sign him to a deal, number 30 in the Royal Rumble, wins the Rumble, and goes on to face Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. Something like that, I think would pop everybody on the planet.
I think so. I think it'd be tremendous. Here's
one from a friend of the show, Shin. Now that Baron Corbin has retired Kurt Angle and possibly retired Gable Steveson, should Chad Gable be worried?
He's retiring. He's retiring all the wrestlers.
He's retiring all the wrestlers.
All the Olympic wrestlers.
Sure, all the Olympic wrestlers. Sure, I think he should be very concerned with Baron Corbin. He's a menace to Olympic level wrestlers.
Let's see. Any takes from network connections at Fox or NBC Universal on the Punk situation?
Zero. I know Fox was more for it than the NBC side. I would say what I have seen with CM Punk over the last 2 years from both sides have been negative. Okay, but that's only because he was competing against them in a in a weird way. I haven't seen anything positive like this is our chance. Like when Cody was up, right? When the opportunity of Cody came, I firsthand saw the chatter, and it was everybody was very excited for this. I've never seen that with him.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
This is from Pro Wrestling Joe. Meltzer said the plan was for All In to be on Max, but the technology wasn't ready in time. We talked about that. Do you think it will be ready next year?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah. Let's do one more, and I got to get out of here.
All right.
Yeah. I think it'll be. I think by next year, I'm almost certain.
Do you want to do a personal question or do you want to do a wrestling question?
One of each. Quick.
Okay.
We'll do quick.
When did you all meet? This is from Lo-Fi Lit. When did y'all meet each other? Was it just for the show, or did y'all accidentally bump into each other on the street, look into each other's eyes, and became besties for life?
1997.
1994.
1994. We met in 1997. And then that was it. And then we were friends for a couple of years, and we didn't speak for a couple of years. Not just life got busy, and then we met up again, and that was like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. Super easy.
Super easy. Let's see.
That's how me and
do a
MG
good
became
one.
friends.
All right, let's do one more.
Each other's eyes. All right, let's see here. Okay, this is a good one. Since it's September, Brian Knight. Hashtag Ask Mattman. Who is your wrestler of the year so
Bryan Danielson.
far?
Brian Danielson.
Agreed. It's Danielson. What a guy. What a trooper.
What a guy.
What a needle mover. Right up there. Mox, Roman,
Mox, Roman, yeah.
Seth also, Gunther. Gunther's in the conversation. There's a lot, like Kenny always is in like the top 10. But yeah, Danielson, right?
Danielson, for sure.
Cool.
Everything he does is fantastic.
I thought you'd say Jeff Jarrett.
Double J, ain't I great?
Double J. All right.
Yeah.
Want to wrap it up?
Yeah, we're going to wrap it up. Guys, that's it for this week. I'll be back on Sunday with Wrestling Observer Live and everything else I'm doing. Follow me on Twitter @AndrewsArian. Follow Rich, BTC Rich, and we'll see you all next time. Take care.